You can flip now.
Ski Pup by Don Freeman. Read by Nick Wellen. Far up on a snow-covered mountainside in the beautiful Swiss Alps, in a little log house of his very own, there lived a young Saint Bernard named Hugo. Hugo was learning to be a rescue dog, and his special work was to keep watch over the children from a skiing school. It was his duty to help any skier who might lose his way in the snow. Early every morning, Hugo's master, Herr Kasser, would climb the hill from the village below to bring him his food for the day and to give him lessons in rescuing. On one especially cold morning, he brought along something that Hugo had never seen before, a thermos bottle filled with hot chocolate. Hugo sniffed and sniffed. It smelled delicious. "Na, na, my boy, this is not for you," said Herr Kasser, as he fastened the thermos bottle to the collar around Hugo's thick, furry neck. "It's for you to give to any skier who gets too cold. Come, Hugo, let's practice your rescuing." Hugo ran inside his doghouse and waited while Herr Kasser skied down the slope and hid behind a high snowdrift. "Help! Help!" he hollered. Of course, he was just pretending, but Hugo dashed out of the house, sniffed for the scent, and then followed his zigzagging tracks. When he found Herr Kasser, he barked and yelped and licked his face. "Good dog! Now sit up and let me unhook this thermos bottle," said his master. Hugo obeyed. "That's the way. You'll be a real Saint Bernard rescuer in no time." After a few more exercises, Herr Kasser skied back down to the village, leaving Hugo all alone in the quiet, white snow. That afternoon, 10 children came skiing cheerfully down the mountain slope, with their instructor leading the way. "Everybody, stay together now and follow me," he shouted to his class. "This is the day we are going on our first steep downhill run. Allez!" Hugo watched the skiers disappear, one after another, over the brow of the hill. That is, all except the last boy in line, who was very slow in starting. He was shushing and pushing with his poles when suddenly his skis crisscrossed and he fell down sideways into the snow. Hugo was all set to run to his rescue, but the boy managed to untwist his skis and pull himself up. Then, to Hugo's great surprise, instead of racing after his ski class, the boy came gliding across the snowy slope to greet him. Hugo began to bark. He was trying to say, "Go back! Go back!" "Don't scold me, puppy," the boy said as he came closer. "I know you're supposed to keep us from getting lost, but I can't catch up with the others now. They're too far ahead. I'll just wait here with you until they come back." He shook Hugo's paw. "My name is Tino Pedotti," he said, "and now we're friends." Tino stuck his ski poles into the snow and then leaned against a pine tree and proceeded to take off his skis. "I'm tired and my legs need a rest," he said. He sat down in the snow and watched Hugo inspect his shiny new skis. The whiff of hickory wood and wax smelled good to Hugo. He sniffed and wagged his tail. "How would you like to go skiing?" asked Tino with a twinkle in his eye. Just for fun, he snapped his goggles around Hugo's head. Everything looked dark and blurry to Hugo. He tried to rub off the goggles with his front paws, but the strap was too tight. "And here's my cap. It will keep your ears from flapping," Tino said jokingly. But Hugo wasn't sure he liked this, and as he was backing away, he accidentally stepped on one of Tino's skis. Zip! Over the rim of the hill he slipped. Up in the air he flew, and then went tumbling down the steep slope. Come back, called Tino, but it was too late. Hugo couldn't regain his footing, and head over paws he went toppling. On and on, down and down he rolled, all the way to the bottom of the hill, where, kerpluff, he plunged into a deep, soft snowdrift. While Hugo was struggling to get out, the alarm bell in the village steeple began to ring. Clang, clang, clang. The ski instructor had signaled from a lookout station that one of his skiers was lost. The 9 boys and girls were searching everywhere for their missing ski mate. "Here's the cap," shouted a little girl. "He must be near here somewhere." "I see his goggles," called one of the boys. "He's stuck in that snowdrift over there." Swiftly, they all skied to the rescue. "Well, if it isn't Hugo," exclaimed the ski instructor. "And those are Tino's goggles he's wearing." Hugo, looking exactly like a snowman, sat up and sneezed. Off slipped the goggles. At last! "What he needs is a sip of this hot chocolate," suggested a thoughtful girl. But just as she was about to unhook the thermos bottle, Hugo leaped up and shook himself off. "Show us where Tino is," shouted the instructor. "Go find Tino." Hugo gave one loud bark, and away he bounded up the slope. "Attention! Everybody stay in line and follow Hugo," commanded the instructor. "Allez!" With Hugo leading the way, the children followed, one behind another. And this time, the instructor was the last in line. Slowly, steadily they climbed, and as they climbed, a thick flurry of snowflakes began to blow across the slope. After what seemed a long time, they came upon one of Tino's skis sticking out of the snow. Hugo went dashing ahead to the pine tree where he had last seen Tino. The ski poles were still standing there. Hugo sniffed and pawed until he discovered the other ski. At this very moment, who should come trudging up the hill but Hugo's master, Herr Kasser. "Hugo, what are you doing playing with these children?" he said sternly. "Please, Herr Kasser, he's not playing. He's helping us find our friend Tino Pedotti," explained the boys and girls. "Oh, so that's who's missing," said Herr Kasser. "Well, hurry! He's probably lost in the woods over there. Go, Pup, go! Find Tino!" But instead of going straight to the woods, Hugo turned around and went sniffing off in the opposite direction. Nah, scolded his master. "I told you to go the other way. That boy's not around here." Always before, Hugo had been obedient. Now he didn't seem to be paying any attention to his master's orders. Herr Kasser was furious. "I can see you will never be a good rescue dog," he said. "Come, boys and girls, we must go find that Pedotti boy ourselves." But just then, Hugo began to yelp and bark in great excitement. Everyone came skiing over to see what he had found. "Were you barking at me?" asked a sleepy-eyed boy, poking his head out the doghouse door. "I've been waiting for you to come back." "It's Tino! It's Tino!" yelled the boys and girls. "Good, Hugo! You found him! We knew you would!" Hugo had one more duty to perform. He sat quietly and allowed Tino to take the thermos bottle off his collar. How thankful Tino was for that good hot chocolate. "I got so cold I went into your cozy house," he said between gulps. "I guess I fell asleep. After this, I better stay in line with the rest of my class." And now the snow had stopped falling, and all the boys and girls started off, skiing gaily down to the village below. Hugo's proud master was the last to leave. He stayed behind to give his pup a hearty hug. Hugo stood watching and, like the true Saint Bernard he was, waited until all the skiers were out of sight and safely on their way home. Then he crawled inside his own snug house and soon was dreaming of skis and snowdrifts and a boy named Tino.